What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a great video for everyone today. We have a lot of important news to talk about and some great plays for the week. So make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video and let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, and we'll probably cover them in tomorrow's video. But Tom, what do we have set for the market for this week?
This week there's actually not too much major news coming out right now. There is some pretty good earnings that we'll talk about a little bit later. But one thing I really want to talk about first is Tesla. They look like they're back on the uptrend. They passed back up above $1,100 last week. And I'll tell you what, this daily setup looks pretty good. They rose 3.7% on Friday, having a pretty nice recovery. And it looks like they're back on the uptrend. And I feel like a lot of stocks last week turned back around. Like Tesla started to come down and consolidate for a little bit here on the daily chart. But as we can see, last week was a pretty nice turnaround. And it looks like as we're heading into Black Friday coming up this week, it looks like Tesla and a few other stocks are doing pretty well in the market, at least heading into the new year.
There we go. So it's awesome to see that. It hit a pretty awesome day on Friday. And Tesla's just one of those stocks where it's such a powerhouse, it's hard to bet against it. So definitely keep this one on your watch list. And then Tom, I know that we do have a holiday this week. What does the market schedule look like?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be closed on Thursday, of course, for Thanksgiving. On Wednesday, we're going to be open as usual, closed on Thursday, actually all day. And then on Friday, we're actually going to have a half day, and the market's going to be open till 1 p.m. Eastern time or 1:15 p.m. Eastern time for eligible options. As we know, some of the options go 15 minutes past market close. So that'll still be in effect. But the main things to look for are we're going to be closed on Thursday, and then we're going to have a half day pretty much on Friday, or at least we're just going to close a little early.
Yeah, there we go. So markets closed on Thursday, half day Friday. That's the main thing to know. Definitely keep that in mind. And then Tom, I know that there's a lot of talk about inflation now and all that stuff. So do we have any catalysts like that for this week?
We actually do. We're going to have a bunch of data coming out. Apparently, the Fed is going to release a bunch of economic data on Wednesday before Thursday's holiday. And there's going to be some pretty big highlights with figures on personal income and spending, which also is going to include the core PCE price index, which is rumored to be the Fed's favorite inflation gauge. So this should be pretty big. I know the Fed's been talking a lot about inflation lately. We've been seeing oil go crazy. We've even seen the markets going crazy with it as well. It's honestly been a big thing. And I know that a lot of people have also been talking about the Fed possibly having a new Fed chair pretty soon. Unfortunately, Powell might get kicked out. There's been a lot of different news coming out about this lately. Apparently, Biden's supposed to make a decision on this before Thanksgiving, and he's leaning towards Fed Governor Lael Brainard to kind of take over the position. I think it sounds like a pretty interesting switch here. Obviously, Powell was appointed in 2018 by Donald Trump, and then now, obviously, Biden might kind of take out Powell and put in Lael Brainard. She's been rumored to be pretty good, though. I will say that. In the end, though, she's being pushed by a lot of progressive Democrats, and it also is said that she is going to be more dovish than Powell. And Mike, can you kind of explain the dovish and hawkish situation?
Absolutely. So when it comes to stocks, you're either bullish or bearish, or I guess you can say neutral. When it comes to the Feds, there's basically two labels you can say, and that is dovish and hawkish. So you can say Powell is a dove, or you can say Powell is a hawk. And basically what that means is the doves, or if you are dovish, it means you like low interest rates, and you're not of course you're worried about inflation, but it's not like a major concern. So dovish basically means low interest rates, and then hawkish is basically like high interest rates and you're kind of worried about inflation getting out of control. Powell has been pretty dovish, generally speaking, and I would be very interested to see how the market reacts if Lael Brainard gets elected and it becomes the new, I guess you could say the leader of the Fed. If she's more dovish than Powell, I would be very interested to see how rates move and how all these bonds react. So I don't know. I think we're in for a very interesting next couple weeks.
Yeah, we really are. And, he said he's expected to make this decision before Thanksgiving. So hopefully we hear some news soon. Personally, I'm kind of hoping that Powell just stays in there. I feel like he's done a pretty good job. He's been keeping the markets up pretty well. Obviously, though, whichever party's in control always wants their people to kind of lead these positions. So I'm not too surprised to see them trying to take him out like this. I think that it's obviously everybody does it, so it's not too much of a surprise. But in the end, I think Powell's done a decent job, and I think that she'll probably do a pretty decent job as well. Of course, whoever's the Fed, keep in mind they're almost like a mascot for the Federal Reserve, so they're trying to keep everything under check. And if things go south, it's on them. So keep in mind that if she does a bad job, obviously she'll end up getting a pretty bad rap for it.
No doubt. All right, there we go. So, Tom, let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have N phase to the upside, and this stock has been exploding.
Yeah, it really has. Make it break out above 272. And like you said, it's been breaking all-time highs just about every day.
Yeah. All right, with the next one, we have Spotify, but to the downside.
Yeah, unfortunately, Spotify has been pretty bad. Go ahead and make them break below 258.
Alrighty, with the next one, we have Square, also to the downside.
Yep, go ahead and make them fall down below $224 even.
There we go. So we are watching Enphase for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And then we are watching Spotify and Square for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the level Tom listed. And before we get into the comments from the previous video, I really want to shout out our member of the day, and that is B Square. So huge shout out Square. Thank you so much for all of your support on YouTube and in Discord and everything. We really appreciate all your support and all of the constant comments. It really helps grow the channel. So huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for all of the support. And let's get right into these comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Bravo saying, "Sup guys, can you talk more about DraftKings, Corsair, and Disney? Maybe it's time to average in. At the end of the day, name of the game is buy low and sell high. You know it. So let's get right into these stocks. A lot of them have been selling off big time. Really, it's unfortunate to see with DraftKings. It's one of my favorite stocks for the long term. It is extremely, extremely volatile. It's definitely in that growth phase, and it will probably be very volatile for the next couple of years. They are downtrending in a pretty big way right now. There's not really any major news. They had that earnings report a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't really that bad. Of course, it wasn't a great earnings report by any means, but it really wasn't that bad. They've had some good news with, partnering with the FaZe Clan and the Boston Bruins, and, they're constantly making new deals and partnerships every day, and they're on offense. They're still growing at a crazy rate. And then on top of that, they just got their sports betting license in New York. So I still love them for the long term. I think that they're at a great level, but this short-term downtrend has been brutal.
Yeah, it really has. And the good news is on a technical level, we're getting really close to some pretty big supports. There's a huge one coming up right around $35. The last time we had a bad downtrend like this, we ended up hitting $35 and going right back up. So hopefully we see that happen again. If we end up breaking down below 35, definitely look at $30. That's another huge level. And I would expect it to maybe hold up on one of these two. I think he's right. I think that averaging into these stocks is going to be a really smart thing to do for the longer term. And I'm with Mike. It looks like DraftKings has just had a pretty bad downtrend. But the thing that I'm happy of, Mike, is that it looks like we're kind of getting out of some of these bad technical setups. And I feel like that if we can start bouncing on one of these supports, it can make for an awesome recovery back to the upside. And I'd love to see it just kind of, get out of this type of trend and then just start a new trend.
Exactly. So definitely keep it on your radar. I love it for the long term, but either way, it's definitely really volatile. And then, Tom, how is Corsair or Disney looking?
Yeah, Corsair and Disney are both kind of going down right now. I will say Disney has been on more of a downtrend, more of kind of like DraftKings. They're also, though, getting really close to some major supports. I see one on Disney right around $150, and below that, another one like right around $147.50. So I feel like Disney could have a pretty good bounce here soon as well. Obviously, they've been on a pretty bad downtrend. They recently filled this gap here. There is another gap down here from like 137 down to 127. I don't feel like we'll get that low though. We might, but in the end, I really think that Disney will be better for the longer term either way.
Yeah, I agree. So they did have a pretty bad earnings report lately, which it definitely definitely played a big role in this downtrend, but they're such a solid company where I'm not worried about them for the long term, and I can definitely see them popping back up over the next couple months.
Yeah, me too. And then kind of getting into Corsair again, I feel like they're awesome too as well. I think this company might do the best over the next couple of months with it being the holidays and everything like that. People love to buy up these computer parts and stuff. So hopefully Corsair ends up popping over the winter. I feel like the DraftKings and a couple of others might do a little bit better to start off the year next year. Hopefully Corsair starts to do well with Black Friday and all these Cyber Monday deals and stuff like that.
All right, so Tom, I know that's awesome. And then if we shift over a little bit to Apple, because I'm like looking through these comments on the previous video, and there's a lot of mixed opinions. Some people are like, when Apple makes a car, your dashboard is gonna say to upgrade your cloud storage, effing snake. So like, there's a lot of different opinions on Apple. But with that being said, their stock is exploding. So what do you think about them?
Personally, I think it's pretty awesome. Honestly, some people are just they love Apple. Like they'll buy Apple phones, Apple computers, Apple everything, Apple headphones. Apple almost has like a bit of like a cult following to them. And whether you like them or not, I feel like they're going to be good for a company in the longer term. I think that whoever, like I said, loves Apple that much, they might end up buying some of these Apple cars. I feel like it'll end up being pretty cool in the future. They said they're not even going to have steering wheels or gas pedals in them. Personally, it doesn't sound like something for me, but like you said, lots of mixed opinions going on. Personally, I feel like it's pretty cool. I feel like Apple is just innovating, and even if it doesn't go as well as expected, I feel like it's still going to do pretty decent at least. So hopefully it helps their company. And I feel like they're getting a lot of hype here in the short term. They're honestly on a huge uptrend, making new all-time highs. And guys, let us know how you feel. Do you guys feel that the car will be successful, or do you feel like, kind of like what he said, they're just going to try to push little microtransactions and stuff like that on you, and then there's just going to be another way for Apple to kind of siphon money out of you?
I think the EV space is getting extremely, extremely competitive right now. We all know it's the future, but of course, we have powerhouses like Tesla that are kind of leading the way, and then we have Ford and GM adapting, and at the same time, we have companies like Lucid, I guess, trying to establish some like market control, and then we have companies like Rivian IPOing, and they're exploding, and then on top of that, we have some of the China EV companies like Neo or Xpeng or whatever, and then on top of that, we have all of the like existing automakers out there that are making new EVs. So I just feel like we all know that the EV sector will definitely continue to grow at an exponential pace for the next decade and even longer. But I think it's very important to, realize what companies you're buying into. Like there's a lot of companies out there that, yes, they have a lot of potential for growth, like Rivian, but you don't want to be buying in at like a crazy valuation. Like it was just last week, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, where Rivian was the third largest automaker by market cap, and they didn't even have any sales. So just please be careful. Like look at some of these EV companies that you're getting into, and definitely take a deep dive into them. Because if we look at like a company like Nikola, like I know they're a totally different beast, but that didn't end too well for most of their shareholders.
Yeah, and same thing for Workhorse and a couple of other ones. I feel like that you're definitely correct here in what you're saying. And, for the longer term, keep in mind that, whenever these types of innovations come out, like electric vehicles and stuff, a lot of these companies trying, one thing to keep in mind is there's not a ton of car companies out there. So I hear about all these new companies starting out and trying this. Keep in mind that some of them will probably fail, like in the end, not everybody can win. So hopefully, the ones end up doing pretty well that everyone likes. But I feel like some of these bigger players like Apple and stuff that have a lot of money in their pockets, they're able to withstand some like pretty rough times at least. So I feel like Apple, at least they do a lot of other stuff. If you buy their stock, I feel like you're also getting them for the phones and stuff like that, more of even than you are for the EVs. So that's why I feel like Apple is almost even a little bit more competitive to buy than some of the other ones, because it's almost like buying a very diversified company.
Yeah, so like the main reason I even brought this up is I just don't want people to get screwed over buying some of these like crazy hype EV stocks at like crazy valuations. So, we all know that there's a lot of growth that will happen in the EV sector, but please just be careful with what you're buying. But with that being said, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you're watching for this week?
I have a few pretty good stocks, and some of them are actually some of these EV companies. We have Lucid actually still popping off. Hopefully, they can get back up towards these all-time highs. They actually had a very explosive Friday, kind of like Tesla did. They look pretty good to the upside. Another one is MU. They had a very nice Friday, up 7.8%. That one's running up. I'm also going to keep my eye on Plug. I feel like they were also having a very nice uptrend. I think those three stocks are pretty good, and they have a lot of momentum heading into the week. So definitely eye them up. I feel like if they start to break out, they might be some pretty big runners.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you're looking for daily options, swing trades, day trades, and access to an awesome private community, definitely check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. You can cancel at any time, and we have a coupon running. Definitely check it out. But other than that, thanks for watching.